again, Vincent.
And I'm Mike.
Here for another episode of Review the Nerds. But today we're doing something a little different. Today we're going to talk about a movie that hasn't even come out yet and still isn't due to come out for another year and a half. So, for those of you who probably figured it out based on Mike's attire here and the timeline I just gave you, we're going to talk about a movie that has garnered a load of controversy in the past year, and that is Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Alright, Mike, so for the people that don't know, tell them, what is the big controversy about this movie so far?
Well, I think that goes without question. It's the casting. Pretty much across the board, everyone's had issues. You have schools split, man. I mean, like, I was on the message boards the other day, and, you know, half the people were passionately defending the cast, and the other half were trashing the hell out of them. I mean, this cast caused so much controversy, you know, they actually started petitions online trying to collect as many votes as they could to try to send to Warner Brothers just to talk them out of some of their casting choices.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, of course, is a sequel to Man of Steel that came out last year, and that movie split a lot of fans right down the center, just like this one seems to be doing already.
Chris Nolan finished his Dark Knight trilogy, yeah. And then the studio comes to him and they ask him, can he continue helping with the DC Cinematic Universe? So then he says, okay, I'll serve as producer. He hired Zack Snyder, who is the director of 300 and Watchmen. And I gotta say right now, I know this is controversial, because I know a lot of people hated Watchmen. I thought Watchmen was great. So I don't know what everyone's problem is. I love the comic. I read the graphic novel by Alan Moore. I thought it was fantastic. But I thought he did a great job adapting it. Yeah, the slow motion stuff was kind of and the Silk Spectre, Malin Ackerman, was not the greatest, but I thought everything else was really good overall. He captured the spirit of these books he was adapting. 300 was a very close adaptation of Frank Miller's book, and Watchmen was a close adaptation of the Alan Moore book when he got hired by Chris Nolan. I think that there were some people that were excited because they were like, oh, this is like a real fan of comic books. He's going to bring it to Man of Steel.
Yeah, so then we got Man of Steel coming out, and that movie, as we, I mentioned earlier, a lot of people were split on it. Seriously, half people were like, this is incredible. Other half of people said this was horrible. Personally, you know what? I've watched it several times since this came out last year, and I've even watched other people's reviews of it in, broad spectrum of opinions and details on it. And you know what? Personally, I'm still split. There's a lot of stuff I like about the movie. There's a lot of stuff that bugs me about the movie. I mean, Mike, what side are you on? Are you in the middle like me, man?
I'm literally split down the middle because I like the first part of the film. I think the first part of the film is good. It's a little more gritty and dark for Superman, but I mean, it offered some fresh perspective on it. And then the last half for me is where it falls to pieces because Superman is supposed to be a symbol of hope, and he's supposed to bring hope to the human race. And instead, though, in this film, what is happening is directly connected to his existence. These aliens, Zod and his people, are attacking Earth because he's there. So, if you're a normal citizen of Metropolis, you're not looking up like, oh, Superman's coming to save us. I'd be like, you douchebag, you're the reason why they're here. Go away, go to the moon or Mars or something. You're leading aliens here to destroy us. And then not only is that a problem, but then there's the whole issue of that Superman is causing almost as equal amount of damage and death as Zod.
Here's my opinion, because that's the big controversy everyone has. One, all the destruction that happens in Metropolis, it just makes sense that there's no way hundreds of thousands of people would die. And then, of course, the big thing at the end when he snaps Zod's neck. Yeah. Here's my take on that. The level of destruction in the film could have worked. Let me explain. Give me a sec here. It could have worked had it been in a sequel. Because the thing about sequels... No, go with me. Let me... Think about sequels are what? One, they have to be a little bit darker. Example, it says it in the title, Thor: The Dark World. Thor had a little bit of a darker thing going on with it, and so did Captain America: Winter Soldier. All right? So you gotta have a little more fear, a little more dramatic, and things have to be bigger, grander. So I think that level of destruction could have worked in a sequel where if it had something in the first film where people like Superman proves himself and people think they're gonna trust him. Then bring the second film, this shit happens. People are like, well, now I don't know about Superman. I really think that could have worked.
All right, you're partly right, but
I'm partly right.
Superman would never endanger that many people. Like, usually destruction that's being caused in a city is the villain directly causing destruction, and Superman trying to protect the people from whatever's happening. I mean, as a matter of fact, in Superman 2 of the Christopher Reeve original series, the whole finale and the fights in Metropolis is Zod and his people using Superman's weakness for caring about humanity against him. And that's his weakness. That's his kryptonite to them, is that they know they can get to him by hurting people. In this movie, though, Superman is knocking down an equal amount of buildings as Zod is. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that not one single person died as a direct result of Superman's actions. There's an earlier sequence in the movie that takes place in Smallville where he's actually... more like Superman. In that sequence, he is actually trying to
he catches
people.
The soldier falling on the helicopter. Yeah. If they had just shown one or two things like that in that battle scene, people, I think, would have been more accepting it. They probably would have felt still a little weird, but more accepting. Yeah. And once again, I think that level of destruction, and I'm not saying don't save people, I'm just saying that level of destruction would have worked better in a sequel.
As long as it wasn't caused so heavily by Superman, I would say yes. It would need to be caused more by Zod.
All right.
Okay, but the other issue here, of course, and you were bringing it up, is him snapping Zod's neck. Now, this is the real big issue with this. Okay, Superman's greatest power, above everything else he has, is his power for self-restraint, self-control. It is because this guy can literally just do this to you and break your arm.
Boom.
It's his ability to control his strength and his impulses that makes him Superman. And in this finale, there seemed to be no self-control or self-restraint in what he was doing. And when he would not fucking just murder this man in front of all these people, or those people didn't have to.
The thing about that thing was it could have been handled because once again, those people could have got out of the way.
Yeah,
I mean, Zod's turning his neck slowly with the heat vision, but Superman is guys. So the people had like a good 15 seconds where they could have gotten up and ran out. Plus, Superman, dude, why don't you just like super speed fly up through the ceiling and take him up into the sky like this? Where his heat vision will just go up into space where it's not going to harm anybody. There's so many scenarios in which that could. I mean, I don't. I understand the reasoning why behind they did that. In fact, it was confirmed later in an online interview I saw where Christopher Nolan did not want to be in the neck-breaking scene. He was totally against it. But Zack Snyder said, no, we have to do this. Because if we do this, if we show Superman kill, if he has to make the horrible choice to kill, not only kill, but kill the last only Kryptonian, it will hurt him so much that it will solidify his morality of never killing, no matter what the situation. So I understand Zack Snyder's reasoning, and I agree with it. I just don't like the scenario. There's so many options that could have happened where Superman could have like saved those people and still kind of beat Zod.
It's not Superman from the comics. It's not. I mean, like
it is a different Superman.
They're trying to Nolanize Superman and make him dark and gritty and all this stuff. And that's part of the problem is that Superman's not meant to be dark or gritty. He's supposed to be a symbol of hope.
Even in the dark moments with the Superman storyline, like the one where he gets mind-controlled and Darkseid, his greatest opponent, even greater than Luthor, tries to use him as a weapon to take over Earth. Afterwards, after he's released from the mind control, him and Darkseid have a battle, and he damn near kills Darkseid, but he holds back at the last second.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, is that he always stops himself. You have a point that if they saved this for a sequel, I would be more okay with it. But it's just that this is supposed to be the inception, the moment of spark for all humanity to look at this guy and go, it didn't set up Superman the way he's meant to be set up.
Yeah.
But anyways, obviously, though, they're using that ending to play into this new film that people don't trust him and that people do fear him.
Yeah, this whole movie, they're apparently this movie, Batman vs. Superman, is going to be all about consequences.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, all right.
Batman, basically is going to look at him as a threat as well, and that's obviously going to spark some fighting.
So, I mean, Henry Cavill is our new Superman, and frankly, he was one of the things that I did like about Man of Steel. I thought he was a good Superman. I thought he had the proper look. I mean, I look at this guy's face, I see a Superman face. He played the character well, not knowing what to do with his life, kind of like how they touched what they did in Smallville. He has all these powers, but he has all these questions. He doesn't know what he should do. Should he reveal himself? And his father tries to give him advice. And I just think he played well. He played this kind, sweet guy, but is still kind of lost in the world. I thought he did a great job. I mean, I could believe that this guy is Superman. I had no problem. I thought the acting was good. And I could feel like I could feel the struggle on his face in the first half of the film when he's like wandering around the world and trying to figure out who he is and what he's going to do with his life. I mean, there was a little very dialogue. I mean, thanks to the flashbacks, you see what he goes through as a kid, and I can see myself having faith in this dude that he can be the Man of Steel, the guy that's going to save the Earth from whatever huge calamity that's going to happen.
Yeah, Henry Cavill, for me, he looks like he jumped off the pages of the Superman books. I mean, he is more so than Christopher Reeve. Even though Christopher Reeve will always be my Superman, his physique really, really is great for Superman. He holds himself really well, and it's like a mix between what Tom Welling did, what Christopher Reeve did, and what the comics are. And I really thought that he was believable, and I actually did like him. I thought he was well cast. He's a Brit playing an American superhero, but that's common these days. You got Christian Bale as Batman.
Yeah.
I thought his casting was good, so I'm on board with him. Amy Adams is another person who eventually played Lois Lane. She's going to be in the new film as well, although I'm sure she's going to be like a much smaller presence in the film.
Yeah, there's a lot of new characters in this film. It's not going to be a whole lot of room for other characters.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Encounter. I prefer Lois Lane with a little more attitude like Margot Kidder, but I thought that Amy Adams was really good. I at first was concerned about her age because she's like 10 years older than Henry Cavill, which is a bit of an age gap. However, she's clearly a good actress, and she's beautiful.
Yeah, she takes care of herself like most Hollywood actresses do. I think she'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't think the age gap's that huge of an issue.
Lawrence Fishburne will be back as Perry White. Basically, the whole cast that survived the first Man of Steel will be back. I thought the cast was good for Man of Steel. I don't have any complaints about the cast. Most of my complaints are more about how they handle the Superman character in the finale.
Yeah,
but
a lot of story issues.
Like, this movie, this concept, actually, is an old one. You know, Batman vs. Superman, they've been trying to put this movie on the screen for years.
Yeah, and it's already happened in the comics multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
These two characters, as oddly as they're always refer to each other, they are best friends. They have, but because they have different views.
Love-hate.
Love-hate. They're love-hate best friends. But they have different views on how justice should be carried out, which inevitably leads to them literally clashing together.
Yeah, different moments. This movie was originally being put together by Wolfgang Peterson back in 2001. They had some writers on board. They were trying to get it kicked off. This was supposed to be a reboot at the time of both Superman and Batman. And I think the storyline is something that, like the Joker killed Batman's fiancée, so he goes on a revenge rampage. And
That was the idea?
Yeah, and Batman starts going on a revenge rampage, and Superman basically, steps in to try to stop him. That was like the original concept. It was being scripted by Akiva Goldsman, the same writer of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. He was going to script the Batman vs. Superman movie. When that movie got canceled, another movie he scripted, I Am Legend, actually has a billboard with Batman vs. Superman in the beginning scenes, which is supposed
I remember that.
Which was supposed to be a tie-in, but they never made the movie. But yeah, so that movie got canceled in favor of just rebooting them individually, which is, of course, where you got Batman Begins and Superman Returns. But, then it stayed dormant for a long time. And, when this movie was first being announced, it was originally going to be a Man of Steel sequel. Like, it was supposed to be a direct sequel to the original Man of Steel film. It was going to be totally focused on Superman initially. But I guess the studio had some issues with the performance of Man of Steel.
Yeah, it didn't do nearly as well, and they got scared, and they're like, well, let's bring Batman back right off the bat. Which I understand. Don't get me wrong, we love Batman. I love Batman. But you can't use him. You can't carry the weight of the DC cinematic universe on his shoulders. I don't care what bat gadget he's got. I mean, you can't just use him to pick things back up. It's in my opinion, it's disrespectful to the character. Oh, you can't make these other fantastic characters that existed for decades good enough, so you're just gonna have Batman no, don't be stupid, all right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, but I also don't want to like overly state that Man of Steel was a disappointment. It wasn't. It made back its money. It did well enough. It's just though that they were expecting even bigger, and they didn't quite get what they were hoping for, and the studio lost some faith in the Superman property.
And I don't know. I don't think they should have, because even though it has issues like we were just talking about, but nonetheless, I still think it had the potential to pull out a great sequel. I mean, all they have to do is learn from the mistakes they've made, which the mistakes could not be shouted louder by the fan base. And I still think a great sequel could have been made within 2 years. But once again, they're like, bring in the bat.
And it's weird how how this movie's evolved, because it started off Man of Steel sequel, then Batman vs. Superman, but with more focus originally supposed to be on Superman. And then out of nowhere recently, well, this is at least the rumor. I don't know if this is true or not, but the rumor is that Batman's going to be the focus of the film. Which is crazy, because not only are you now disconnecting this from being a direct Man of Steel sequel, you're also making Batman the lead focus.
Batman's going to be the focus?
Well, like I said, it's just a rumor that I read. Okay, he's drinking. Now, that's what that news did to him.
All right. Okay, I'm good. Right.
Now, another thing I want to announce to everyone that's listening, these are all just based off of rumors and speculation mostly. We're only responding to what we've heard. We don't know if any of these are facts or not.
I had a shot of Jack out of your supply. I hope you don't mind.
We are not journalists. We're just fans like all of you. It could be a rumor, but that's what I heard, is that the focus will be primarily on Batman, setting him up and reestablishing him, and Superman is his co-star, basically.
And here's the issue with that. I don't care that Superman and Batman are going to duke it out. That's okay. It's happened before in the comics multiple times. What I do care about is when you're going to do a team-up movie, you have to balance the two characters. You cannot make one character look better than the other, because then that's not a team-up. Superman is not Batman's sidekick. They are equals. They're not physical equals, but there has to be that balance because they are DC's top two guys. They're part of the Trinity. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
Now we're going to run into casting. Because if you're going to make Batman your focus, and if he's the one that's going to bring this all home for you, man, some interesting casting with him.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of people that auditioned for this. They offered Christian Bale $50 million to come back. And Christian Bale said, no, I'm done with the series. I don't want to do anymore. I felt like I finished my character's arc. Get someone else.
Yeah, I probably would have done the same. I think they finished. I mean, they did a unique version of Batman's story ending, and I think that was fine. Plus, I mean, he's been in a lot of good movies since. I mean, American Hustle, that was a great film. He was awesome.
Oh, yeah. There was a bunch of actors who were considered for Batman. You've got guys like Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Matthew Goode.
Ryan Gosling as Batman?
Yeah. Well, first one was Josh Brolin, who actually he would have been a great Dark Knight Returns Batman. I mean, he's got that kind of older man, kind of burly look to him.
Yeah, I can see him pulling it off.
Yeah, he could have pulled it off. So they were all rumored, but the guy who landed it, he was actually originally offered to direct the first Man of Steel way back in the day. He was offered, he turned it down because he didn't feel like he wanted to take on the challenge. But it is Ben Affleck.
And that's where the internet lost its mind once again, because it was announced and people were going crazy. They're like, Daredevil? The guy who did Daredevil?
He already did a superhero.
Yeah, which I don't understand. I don't know why people... I understand that people haven't forgotten that Daredevil movie, which had its issues, but I liked Ben Affleck in it. I thought he was a cool Daredevil.
I will say that, okay, he's actually very close to Matt Murdock in the books. I think he was a good choice, and a lot of people may disagree, but I liked him in a Daredevil. I will give him that. But I gotta admit, I was one of the people that was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's was my initial reaction, too. I wasn't sure how to feel. I was like...
Ben Affleck?
I mean, Argo. He just did Argo. That's cool, but I don't... That's the thing. You want to... I mean, Ben Affleck, for a long period of time, was in a bunch of stinkers. Like, he was in a lot of movies that just, like, were... Year after year, were failing. I mean, his biggest stinker of all time, Geely, or whatever the hell he was. Yeah, that was horrible. But then he then he got back in the saddle. We had,
becoming director of The Town.
Director and star of The Town.
Yeah, which he did a great job in.
And ditto for Argo. Both movies were huge successes. They really got him back on the map, and people were like, there you go, Ben Affleck, you're doing it. And recently, Gone Girl just came out. I really liked that movie.
Yeah, I agree. The ending was a little weird, but I really liked it overall. His mannerisms, his voice, his presence, the way he holds himself, seems to never change in any of his performances. It doesn't matter if his hair is different, if he's rocking a mustache, or if he's playing a hero or a jerk. It's essentially different twists on the same performance. Now I don't want to make it sound as though I think that Ben Affleck is a bad actor. Not every actor transforms themselves, but they still sell their characters and make us empathize with them. Affleck is able to do that very well. He's able to connect with audiences and invest them in his characters. This may prove to be enough to play Batman. My only real issue is I want Batman to be more than that. I'd like an actor to really dive into the psyche of the character and deliver the duality and psychological complexities that have made Batman such a popular superhero. Conceptually, Christian Bale was actually a great choice to play Batman. I know that some people didn't like his Bat voice, but he was the right kind of actor for the role. He's a very complex performer, as shown in his incredible physical and emotional transformations in films like The Machinist, The Fighter, and American Hustle. He's a method actor, and so he's someone who really digs into his characters. Perhaps the Bat voice is the wrong way to go, but having someone with the ability to seek out that kind of emotional complexity seems ideal for the most psychologically complex superhero from the DC. I'm sure that Ben Affleck will do well enough, but I'd like to see a home run. Also, I could be very easily underestimating Affleck. People doubted him being able to pull off being a director, and now he's considered one of the best in the business. I love The Town and Argo, so Affleck is undoubtedly he's a talented guy. Maybe we all need to give him a chance despite reservations like the ones I've gone over.
I don't know what? I'm totally giving him the benefit of the doubt because, like I said, my initial reaction was pretty much just like everyone else. Was like, what? What? But you know what? I want to see him do good because I can see him pulling off. The thing about the character is there's Bruce Wayne and there's Batman. And once Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, Bruce Wayne becomes the alter ego. He's the character that Batman plays. When Batman's in the Batcave thinking to himself, like, he doesn't say, okay, how am I going to stop them, Bruce? He goes, how am I going to stop Batman? When he thinks in his head, he doesn't. When he thinks of himself, he sees Batman. He doesn't see Bruce Wayne the billionaire. Bruce Wayne's just a character, and I can see Ben Affleck pulling off that playboy billionaire who acts reckless and just sleeps with a bunch of girls and has a bunch of cool cars. I can see him pulling that off. The Batman character, I think he's gone through a lot of changes in recent years. I think the town and Argo are examples of that because he's like really made hell of a comeback for his career. And you know what? I'm totally willing to give benefit that they can pull off because there's been pictures online of him in the bat suit. He looks pretty cool in it. He looks real good in it, so that he's got the look.
Well, he's got the chin.
You know, sometimes that's all you need is the chin. I don't know. I'm gonna say I'm feeling kind of good about Ben Affleck. I'm not completely positive, but I got a good feeling he's gonna be able to pull it off.
Well, then we should mention Jeremy Irons is going to be playing Alfred. He is traditionally known for playing harder edge characters. He plays villains. He doesn't usually play the mentor, understanding role. He did do it one time in a film called Aragon, which I'm sure no one saw, where he mentored. And
recently in Beautiful Creatures, which was a horrible bomb.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe you could argue that those movies give some support for him playing Alfred.
I think that edgier side to Jeremy Irons is what's going to help him out because Alfred does have a background in the military, you know, stuff like that. I think we want to see that kind of Alfred who's got a bit edgier, because who else could deal with a guy that since he was a little boy has been preparing to be the world's greatest crime fighter, to be the darkest, grittiest superhero. I think that's going to play well into it, because if that's how he's going to play Alfred, great. Because you would have to be somebody like that to live with a guy and like watch him put on a suit and he's going out every night beating the crap out of people, creating these weapons and gadgets to disarm them without killing.
Yeah,
I think that's going to play well into the character if that's how it's going to play it. Which we don't know because the movie's not coming out for another over a year. Yeah. But I think Jeremy Irons, I think he plays well into like the modern version of Alfred. He's still the fatherly character, but he's still the guy that looks at Batman and is like, oh, you're going to do that? I have an issue with that. You don't care? Fuck you. I used to wipe your ass. You know what? He's going to be like that.
Well, yeah, that's not really the way Alfred traditionally is supposed to be.
Not traditionally. I don't mean... Yeah, he's not going to say fuck you to Batman. He's going to be like, Master Bruce, no. You know, he's gonna, like, I think that's the way they're going to... I think Jeremy Irons, I think he's a cool pick.
Jeremy Irons is a fantastic actor, we have to say. I mean, I've never seen him give a bad performance. He could be in a terrible film and still be good in it.
Yeah.
And even though I've never seen him play someone specifically like Alfred... That doesn't mean he can't do it. He's a fantastic actor, you know. So yeah, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see him.
So it was announced that because this movie is going to set up the Justice League film, there was going to be a lot of cameos from other members of the Justice League.
The evolution of this thing is that it went from Man of Steel sequel, Batman vs Superman, and then out of nowhere they decided to start using this as a bridge to the Justice League movie because apparently they want to jump on the superhero team up Avengers bandwagon.
Yeah, they want their $200 million opening weekend movie. So.
We want more money. I mean, so, you know, they thought, hey, add in more characters, more money. Hey, let's add in this person. Okay, we're going to get, you know, the female demographic, the young teens and young girls. Let's get that. And that brings us to the casting of...
Gal Gadot.
Wonder Woman.
Yes. Now, this one, I think, was even... screwed up people even more than Ben Affleck. I mean, if you know Gal Gadot, she was a former Miss Israel. Reportedly, she did spend some time in the Israeli military. Cool background. She's most notable for being in the last 3 Fast and Furious films. I think I have a big issue with people always talk about she's too skinny. Gal, she's a naturally skinny woman, which is not bad. She's not anorexic. She's just a naturally skinny build. That's fine. But Wonder Woman, she's got to have like a muscular, athletic, voluptuous look to her, and Gal doesn't have that. Now, in recent photos, we've seen her in the Wonder Woman outfit that they designed for the movie, which at that point started making me believe that she might have a little bit more than a cameo. But the Wonder Woman outfit, it doesn't look too bad. It's been referenced to Xena's outfit a few times. They're not really highlighting like the red and blue and gold aspects of the traditional Wonder Woman outfit. It's a lot duller colors on it.
It's apparently based on New 52 Wonder Woman.
Which I've seen the New 52 outfit. It doesn't... It still looks more Xena to me than the New 52 outfit. Gal's problem is she's put on some muscle. She's released a few pictures online from Twitter, like she's like posing like this. She's put a little bit of muscle, but...
Little bit.
If I don't know. I mean, once again, we don't know what to say because we still haven't seen her. But I'm having a little trouble with Gal. I mean, I want her to do good. I got no reason to be against her. It's just as a casting, I don't get it. I mean, she doesn't look like. I mean, obvious choice would have been Gina Carano, but she's a little too obvious, I guess.
I think she would have been a good choice. Yeah,
I don't know. Wasn't Gina Carano fast? Her acting is. I mean, her acting is nothing spectacular.
I mean, there's no reason. I bet there's no reason to doubt her any more than Gal Gadot, because Gal Gadot hasn't necessarily shown the greatest acting range either.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see that being an issue. By the way, we don't know how to pronounce the name. You can try to tell us.
I've also heard it's pronounced as Godot.
My thoughts about when I just first saw her, especially in the costume. Well, she just looks like a girl playing dress up for Halloween. She looks like a girl you'd see at the Comic-Con. Did she leap out of that picture and go, "I am Wonder Woman, believe in me, follow me"? No.
That's the thing about Wonder Woman. She has to make you believe that she's a fierce Amazonian warrior that can lead, that is a princess who's been trained since birth to lead a troop of Amazonians into battle. Gal, I mean, she plays a badass chick in the Fast and Furious film, but how believable the badassery is.
I didn't think she was all that great in this movie.
She plays it more cool than badass, which is, you have to have some coolness to be a badass, but
I think when you mean coolness, you mean wooden. Because she plays
the character smooth. She tries to be smooth. Is that better for you? Is that better?
Smooth implies that it was like a conscious decision to play it this way. I think it was more just a lack of acting ability. But she could prove me wrong. I'm not going to say she won't prove me wrong. I don't want everyone to be like, "Oh, you're hating on somebody when you haven't got a chance to see what she can do." Maybe she'll be great, but I'm just saying, based on what I know, based on the Fast movies, based on that first picture of her, I have doubts. I mean, she looks like a supermodel. She doesn't look like a warrior. I'm sorry.
I mean, Gal, if you pull it off, then hey, all the kudos to you. I mean, I'll say it right now. We'll film an episode right now where we will say it'll be 1 minute long. That's all we need. Gal, you did a great job. I'll say it right now. But right now, I'm not. I'm unsure. I want her to pull it off.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's doing it. She's got the beauty of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
We're just. Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. Let me say something about this. I like him a lot. I think he's a great actor. Social Network, good. Now You See Me, really like that. Zombieland, really liked it too. I thought he did great in all three. But being cast as Lex Luthor, no. I'm not digging it.
He is obviously a talented actor, I think. He's done a great job in a lot of things I've seen him in. He's very good at playing a certain type of role. Like, all his roles are very angsty, kind of fast talkers. Sometimes they're insecure, sometimes they're egomaniacs. They all have a similar kind of manic-y way of talking and moving. And there's comparisons I've heard in the past to Woody Allen a little bit. And, so I respect him. But I have to say that when I heard that casting, I honestly thought it was a prank. Like, I remember when I heard Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, I was like, is it April Fool's? I was like, there's no way this is real. Yeah. Zack Snyder is going to...
I think you I was at work. He sent me a text saying Jesse Eisenberg, like, Lex Luthor is going to be Jesse Eisenberg. I was like, I thought he was screwing with me. I thought, we've been talking about this a lot lately. He's messing with me. I'm just going to go back to work. Yeah, he texts me again. He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, hey, boss, can I get a break? I need some time here.
I mean, honestly, I thought that after a few days... that Zack Snyder and the company were going to come forward and go like, no, that's not true. Why are you guys crazy? No, this is Lex Luthor. It's Bryan Cranston or Mark Strong. Apparently, Joaquin Phoenix turned down this role. Apparently, they first offered Joaquin Phoenix, who would have been great.
Yeah, I can see that working out.
Yeah,
Joaquin pulling it off.
But here's the question. How do you go from Joaquin Phoenix to Jesse Eisenberg? They're two totally different performers.
Well, here's what's happening. So what we've known about this version of Lex Luthor so far is that he is still going to be a billionaire. He's still going to be a genius, which is traditional to the character. He's a super genius. But he's not a billionaire because he's an industrialist. He's a billionaire because he's a media mogul, which I understand the two reasons why they're going with that change of the character. One, the day and age that we live in, Facebook, Twitter, Fox being owned by all these billionaires, these TV channels, it makes sense that these are the modern day villains, these media guys that control the information. I get that. Secondly, Social Network was a huge hit. Jesse Eisenberg was the main character. So basically, we're going to get Jesse Eisenberg to play evil Zuckerberg Luthor. And no, I understand he's going to use his media empire in this film, undoubtedly, to make Superman look bad in the news, online, everything he's got at his disposal. But then how does he create a threat for Superman? I mean, mostly there's been rumors that he's going to build Metallo, the android that is powered by kryptonite. But how? If he's not an industrialist, he doesn't have factories. He doesn't have engineers that build this stuff. He's a
billionaire, so he could hire people in Mexico to do it. I mean, but like
El Metallico.
Yeah, but like it's for one thing, this is still a rumor. I don't know for sure if this is what they're doing with it. But if you go this direction, it's like, well, isn't he just pretty much J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man? Because J. Jonah Jameson is a media mogul, and he's constantly trashing Spider-Man in the in the papers and everything, making Spider-Man look like he's the bad guguy. Is it pretty much Jesse Eisenberg's going to do? Is pretty much just make Superman appear to be the villain because he's twisting facts in the media and stuff like that? It's like, and also he sounds kind of like the villain from Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond movie with Elliot Carver, where he tries to start World War III using the media. It's like, I don't know, it's not Lex Luthor. That's the thing, is that it could be a villain, but is it Lex Luthor? No, it's not Lex Luthor.
I mean, it's been pulled off before changing a character, like in Dark Knight Rises, Bane. It is possible to change traditionally what a character is to like breathe new life into him. They've done it in comics. Marvel did it with the Ultimate series.
Well, they actually even did it with Lex Luthor himself. He actually used to be just a crazy scientist.
Yeah,
and then in the 70s or 80s, they started making him into this entrepreneur, this businessman.
Yeah, that really occurred in the 80s, because that was a huge, I mean, it's a huge topic now of the big business taking over, but that thing really got started in the 80s. I mean, all the RoboCop fans know what I'm talking about there. It's been done before, but
done very well in that way. As a matter of fact, that's kind of what solidified the character. And of course, Michael Rosenbaum, that's the version he played in Smallville, which, by the way, oh my God, if only they got Michael Rosenbaum for this movie. I'm sorry, but that guy just nails it.
He's got a lot of Rosen love, my man here. He likes Rosenbaum.
He makes the transition so awesome. And like in the very final episode of Smallville, before they close, he's just full-blown Lex. This is the Lex from the comics. And he just nails it. Going from him to this, I don't know if I want a fast-talking, angsty, nerdy Lex Luthor. I mean,
yeah. So once again, I'm just totally against this casting. But Jesse Eisenberg, I like you, man. I hope you pull it off. I don't
think he's right for the role.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. He's not anyone that you really feel threatened by. I can't imagine them making him an intimidating character. I just can't. The same thing with Jeremy Irons. Just because I haven't seen him play a character like this doesn't mean he can't. I just have never seen him play something like this, and I can't imagine him playing it. But maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll prove me wrong. I mean, but it's just that there's so many casting choices in this film, that seem crazy. And it gets to a point where you're like,
were they just pulling random actors' names from a hat while being blindfolded?
Like I said, they all might prove us wrong. They might all end up be great.
Yeah, and I hope they do, because I don't want this to be a bad movie. I want it to be a good movie. I want to see two of the greatest superheroes of all time, traditionally, and come together. Have a great movie where they have a fight, why not? But then they come together at the end to beat a common villain, a common, adversary. Come together. I want this to be a good movie, because I want Justice League to eventually happen. I want there to be a Wonder Woman solo film. I want there to be an Aquaman solo film. There's even a Captain Marvel, a.k.a. Shazam film in works now, and I'm a little excited to see that character too. I want these movies. I want DC to catch up to Marvel.
Well, that's part of the problem, though, is that they're trying to catch up too fast. Like, Marvel, they had a successful plan implemented in those film series. They took their time individually setting up each character solo in their own films, and then eventually brought them together. This movie's trying to skip ahead. It's trying to cheat that development and just have the heroes start appearing as cameos in this movie. Like, you got Jason Momoa as Aquaman. You got this guy named Ray Fisher, who I've never heard of, as Cyborg. You're starting to cram in all these people.
Yeah. The thing is, like,
it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between Marvel and DC, if you're not familiar with it, just look at the past months happened. A few weeks ago, DC announced their movie lineups for the next several years. They announced, when Justice League is going to happen, when all the individual hero solo films, and people were like, "Oh, hey, that's nice, that's cool." Then Marvel announced their lineup, and everyone was like, "Yeah! Oh my God, it's gonna be oh, dude, oh!" The difference is there. Yeah. What's the big difference? Marvel's already put a lot of faith into the fans' hearts. They've already enjoyed so many Marvel films that they're excited for more. Plus, Marvel released it at a convention. DC released their lineup at a board meeting that was then put on their website or in the news. They didn't reveal it to the fans.
I mean, there's so much...
DC isn't listening to the fans, and you should. You have Superman, the original superhero. If it wasn't for Superman, we wouldn't have any other of these guys.
I mean, part of the problem also is that with Marvel, it feels like a family. Like, you feel welcomed into their cinematic universe. With Batman versus Superman, it feels like a corporate business thing. And, every movie's a business thing. I mean, that's what every movie is. But Marvel has a way of doing it where you trust them and you believe in them. And I don't feel like DC is necessarily gaining a lot of faith, at least not from everybody. It's very mechanical. It's just trying to rush so they can catch up to the Avengers. Didn't you learn anything from Marvel? Marvel is as successful as it is because they knew how to do it right. If you're trying to establish your whole DC interconnected universe, it's not a good idea to introduce all your new players all in the same film right off the bat. Batman's going to need time to get established. I mean, we know the Christian Bale Batman, but we don't know Ben Affleck as Batman, which is, of course, obviously why they're taking so much time with him in this one, which is debatable whether or not they should. You also then have Wonder Woman, who is also going to need to be established a bit. If you just have Gal Gadot immediately step on the screen and start jumping around in action scenes, I'm not going to believe in her because I don't know anything about her. You have to make me understand her version of Wonder Woman. She has to, be real to me. And the same thing for everybody else. If you just have Aquaman show up at one point, like, oh, hey, I'm Aquaman, let me help you guys in this battle.
Hey, weren't you that guy off the oil rig that two of my whales were checking out? Was that you?
Yeah, but if you just have these people step on the screen without giving us anything establishing them, then they're going to be empty, and I'm not going to believe in them. And that's the risk they're taking here, okay, is that they're trying to cram in a lot of people all in the same film, and I don't think it's necessarily the best idea in the world. I mean, you have there's even more characters we haven't mentioned. You have Jenna Malone as Robin.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm actually kind of excited to see a female Robin on the screen because that's only ever happened in the comics.
Yeah, well, they're basing a lot of the Batman story in this off The Dark Knight Returns. In that, he had a female companion. I think her name was Carrie. She was the new Robin in that. I'm cool with that. I mean, it sucks that they've never, ever really done Dick Grayson right cinematically yet. Yeah, sure, she's good for that role, for that type of Robin. So yeah, I'm curious about that. But again, another new character. You have so many new characters. And also, you have to establish Lex Luthor. You can't just have Lex Luthor suddenly pop on the screen and he's like, you have to make me believe in him. And in order to make me believe in your characters, you have to establish them. So you have a lot of characters established here. A lot. And do you have the time to really do it justice? Justice. Threw it in.
Ironically, that's the question. Do they have time to do it justice? There's going to be so many cameos.
The thing is, we also don't know how big of a part some of these people are going to have in the movie. Either way, though, it's bad, because if they're just a cameo, then it's like, okay, why even bother? But if they're in it a bit, then it's like, okay, they're not going to have enough time, though, to get established. That's just the problem, is that this movie should have been Batman versus Superman, just those two. I understand you don't want to do another Batman origin movie, so it makes sense to combine it with Man of Steel. I understand that. Okay, but, save all these other people for their own movie. Let's let this totally be focused on Batman, Superman, and Lex Luthor, is what it should have been in my mind. So that's my opinion. I think that they're trying to skip ahead because they want more money, faster, and, hey, it remains to be seen whether it's going to pay off or not. If this falls in its face, then they're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, and frankly, guys, once again, we love these characters. We love we love movies.
You can see with mine.
We want this movie to be great because if they do it right, it could be at the same level as Justice League. I mean, the same level as Avengers. This one bombs. I don't know if I'm going to have any more interest in the DC cinematic universe.
Who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman?
I think either one of these guys is capable of beating the other. I truly believe that. I can see Batman finding a way to beat Superman, and Superman obviously has his ways of beating Batman. I hate the fanboys who are like, Batman wins no matter what. 100%, hands down. You're fucking stupid. I'm going to throw that out there. I hate you kind of fanboy because you're a bad Bat fan if you think Batman's invincible. No, he's not invincible. That's what makes the character great, that he's not invincible.
Well, yeah, I can see what you're saying. I mean, Superman can tap you in the head and kill you if you wanted. They both have a code of not killing, but Batman will twist morality to win more than Superman is willing to. That's why they tend to disagree a lot. Superman operates in black and white, while Batman is gray. Really, though, Superman's biggest adversaries in the versus matches with Batman are the writers. Batman is usually written to be so intelligent that he knows what Superman is going to do before Superman knows. Batman has contingency plans on top of contingency plans. Bruce is always prepared, and in fact, there's a Justice League storyline, Tower of Babel, where it's revealed that Batman had records on all the members of the Justice League, and details how to take them down. Even in the Dark Knight Returns storyline, Batman outsmarts Superman. He very nearly beats Superman to death, and then stages a heart attack to fake his own death instead. Superman was only saved in that Batman was using him as a ruse, and Batman really didn't want to kill him. That's how good Batman is written to be. Even when it appears Superman has beat him, it's all part of Batman's plan. And the reason why the writers side with Batman is because Superman is so invulnerable. He's so perfect. Arguably a god even.
Right.
Over the years, many people have grown tired of this from Superman. And so the writers decided that it'd be more interesting to see a human being using mostly his intellect take down an alien with godlike powers. All that said, however, this version of Superman is very different as shown in Man of Steel. He will operate in the gray. While that betrays what Superman stands for, it does make him more dangerous in a fight with Batman. If Superman manages to catch Batman unprepared, then Batman could be in a lot of trouble.
The thing about Superman is you gotta remember, Kryptonite is the only way. It isn't the only way you can stop him. There's plenty of others. For instance, Superman gets his power from yellow sunlight. So and on Krypton they had a red sun. So they've established in the comics if you were to douse him in red sunlight energy, his powers quickly diminish depending on how much red sunlight you blast him with. Magic is a thing in the DC universe, and Superman has, unlike other, like, bullets and cannons and stuff like that, Superman has no exceedingly defense against magical attacks. He can take a few hits, but eventually somebody with magical powers could beat him down. There's plenty of ways to beat Superman. It's just over the years, yes, they have overpowered him. In one comic, he flies directly into the sun, stays in there for 15 minutes, and then gets so supercharged by the yellow radiation of our sun that he can move an entire planet. That's happened.
It used to be something that people looked up to. People used to want their heroes to be invincible. And it wasn't until Stan Lee came in with Spider-Man that he started to show people that, hey, your heroes can be vulnerable like you, because then you can relate more. Batman is favored in a lot of ways now over Superman because he's vulnerable, because he has, a lot of weaknesses, not just physically, but also emotionally. He is a vulnerable guy. He has a lot of psychological issues. And so a lot of people tend to rally behind Batman over Superman. And yes, I agree that isn't totally fair. Superman is like the king of superheroes. His debut in comics in 1938 was 1 year before Batman and years before other superhero favorites. So Superman really started it all and deserves respect. Though Batman is a genius, Superman is no slouch either when it comes to intellect. He has Kryptonian knowledge from beyond this world for Jor-El's sake. It's more interesting to see Batman win, but it's admittedly more plausible that Superman would. Now honestly, I love both characters equally, so I would really rather see neither of them win or lose. I'm hoping that they only take it so far before something breaks it up. Are they going to have them start to fight and then have another threat come in the middle of it and stop them from actually totally fighting? We'll see. There's so many goddamn characters in this movie that could easily happen.
Yeah.
I have a lot of skepticism about this movie. I don't know how excited I am about it. I'm kind of neutral. I am going to see it, as I'm sure a lot of people are. This is probably going to have a huge opening weekend. Probably a big opening weekend. Now, the quality is going to depend whether or not it's going to be able to hold those numbers. But, hey, I'm a huge fan, as you can see. I grew up with this shit. I'm hoping it's going to be good. And even though I've been trashing a lot of choices that have been made in this movie, for one thing, a lot of them are rumors. They may prove to be untrue. But the ones that we know, like the casting, maybe they'll prove me wrong. I think they all, minus Gal Gadot, they're all good actors. I don't know about Gadot. I don't know enough about her.
Give her a chance.
Yeah, give her a chance. Okay. But Ben Affleck could prove me wrong. All of them could. So anyways, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm on board. I'll see it opening weekend. If it sucks, though, then I'm with Vince. I probably am done.
Yeah, anyway. Well, everybody, that's our 2 or 4 or even 6 cents on Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Once again, we still got a long while before it comes out. Could be a lot more things revealed about the movie. Hell, the trailer isn't coming out. But those are our thoughts on all the controversy this past year. To all the people who think it's already going to suck, guys, let's hope it doesn't. Or people it's going to be awesome. Maybe not awesome. I don't know. It's really split. But anyway, that's what we got for you guys this week. We'll be back to movie reviews next time. But for now, Batman vs. Superman, we're hoping, guys.